Hey everybody, my name is Sharon Quinn and I'm also known as the original runway diva, and you are watching Model Behavior. Today my guest is celebrity makeup artist and eyebrow artist Tara Taylor. Welcome, Tara, to
Thank
Model
you.
Behavior.
Thank
now,
you,
you know
Sharon.
that the show is about teaching others that are coming up the path that you've already paved. So I'm going to jump right into it. And the first thing I usually ask is, how did you get started? For you, when did you discover your love of makeup?
Oh, well, I think I discovered my love of makeup way, way back when I was a child. My mother was she was one of those old school women who never boarded a plane without her hat and her gloves and her heels. She had no flats. Even her slippers had heels. And so she wore makeup every day, and I used to sit there and I'd play in her makeup. And I think that's where I started discovering my love of art.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just going through school, elementary school through high school, I always was involved in art, whether it was art classes, I draw. So I always did something like that. But the makeup actually came later on, way later on, after I graduated college. I did musical theater in college.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep. And so as a young 20-something-year-old, still real wet behind the ears, I was just very hungry, and I just, auditioning all the time. And they say, you can audition 80 times before you can book one job. So
True.
as a young, a very young lady, young woman, and because I was so hungry and almost so desperate for it, that part of auditioning and that part of not being able to express my creativity the way I'd like to became disappointing for me. So I needed something else to do while I was auditioning.
Okay.
Something that I could, still be flexible with my time. So it just kind of made sense that I drew, so why not do makeup?
Now, would you say that the two go hand in hand? Should you have the art, like the drawing and the sketching, and doing makeup?
Absolutely. Makeup is basically drawing on a three-dimensional surface.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
So it's the same thing, the shading, the contouring. You do it on paper, you can do it on a three-dimensional surface as well.
Really?
And, yeah, and the same thing goes for colors and hues. All of that is very, very similar.
So would you say that you need to have an artistic background in order to be not a makeup artist, but a stellar makeup artist? Because I've seen some bad ones.
I will just say this. I have found that makeup artists who have an art background, who can draw, tend to be better makeup artists. I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying that in my experience, I found that the better makeup artists also know how to draw.
Okay, so
or paint.
In your opinion,
yeah.
you should have some sort of artistic background. What else do you need?
To be a good makeup artist?
Yeah.
Drive and passion. Because, as a makeup artist, especially when you're starting out, you kind of want to play the field. You want to do as much as you can. You want to build a book. You want to, take as much work as you can, free and not free.
I'm sorry, could you put the camera on her and say that little piece again? Because everybody wants to be paid right out the gate.
Yes, but when you're starting out as an artist, it's really important that you especially when you're trying to hone in on your craft and build your skill level. When you're learning something, if you want to make a mistake, it's best to make a mistake on a job that they may not be paying you like $1,000 for that job. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Or they might be asking for some money back, maybe.
Right.
Okay.
Or just may not be paying you, and then it can get messy. I say when you're just starting out, do as much as you can.
So you test to build up your book just like a model does.
Exactly, but you're not just testing to build up your book. You're testing to build contacts. You're networking.
Okay.
And you're practicing.
But that's a good way of looking at it.
You never, I've been doing makeup since 2000. I kind of started in 2002. I became a professional in 2006.
Okay.
I'm still learning and I'm still getting better every year.
Now, you freelance.
I do.
And you like freelancing. We
I
talked
do.
about this off camera. Now, what are the benefits to freelancing versus, I guess, being signed with an agency and having a big agency represent you?
Well, when you're with an agency, you can still freelance.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they send you out on jobs. You know, I think the difference would be whether you're freelancing, between freelancing and working set hours.
Okay.
When you're a freelancer, for instance, you know, I freelance with Fox, right? Fox News. I am still in control of my time. I can turn down jobs without having to worry about taking a sick day or taking out vacation days. I don't have to take the job. I don't have to work that day. So you're in control of your time. So if there's a day like for my son's birthday, I can take that day off and I don't have to worry about turning down a job that day.
Okay.
So it's more, you have the flexibility.
Now, do freelancers, because I'm a little green, do freelancers get benefits, like health benefits? Now, that's a drawback then, right?
That is a drawback.
What are some other drawbacks to freelancing?
One of the biggest drawbacks is probably consistency with pay.
Okay.
Because you're working job
to job.
To job. If you had 4 set days a week or 5 set days a week, you know that you're getting a certain amount of money per week.
Gotcha.
Freelance, you are hustling.
All the time.
All the time. And you have to have the personality for that, the character for that. Because you're constantly going. And we were actually talking about that today at work, that, you know, as freelancers, we are able to manage that kind of stress, the not knowing.
How does one do that, though?
Well, for me, it's my faith.
Okay.
Even though I don't know, I know I'm going to be okay.
Okay.
I know that next job is coming.
That's a hard way to be if you don't have that faith to center you.
Right. And I can't speak to not having that faith because I don't know what that feels like necessarily. There are moments, because we all have moments, we're human, we doubt, we go through it.
Yeah.
But in general, my faith is strong enough to know that even though when I get in one of those moments, I can bring myself back up again. And without fail, 100% of the time, I have been okay.
Okay.
So
I hear you on that. Now, when you're doing makeup, now I'm not a makeup artist, but I can be.
But you do some good makeup.
I can be the face if necessary.
You can.
Now I've had other makeup artists on here, and my issue is, for me, it's skin tone. I do better with darker skin as opposed to lighter skin because I feel like I can play more with a color palette. When I should actually be able. Is that true? Shouldn't I be able to do that across the board though?
I can't even exactly tell you scientifically why that is because I really would have to research and look it up. But I just know that any color, for the most part, looks good on dark skin.
Yeah, when the darker you are, I'm just like, ooh, let's go with this really, really bright color. Now, go ahead.
Sorry, but I am still of the belief that anybody can wear anything. You just have to alter it for that skin tone. So the same way with red lipstick, for example. I think we can all wear red. It's just what tone of red.
Exactly.
So.
And it took me a minute to learn that.
And you like an orange tone, correct?
Yeah, I like an orange undertone.
Not a blue undertone.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So it's just about finding, I guess it would be the right hue, I think, if that's the correct term. I know artists will probably be like, no, it's not hue, it's tint, or whatever. But you know what I mean.
Now, I heard you talking earlier off camera to Sabrina. She was asking you makeup questions that she didn't bother to ask me, even though I have some background in makeup as well. And she asked you what things should you splurge on if you're a diva on a budget, and you can't do like all MAC or all NARS or all Iman or all, for God's sake, Bobby Brown, who I love, but she's a little pricey.
Right.
Which things should you splurge on, and which can you kind of, go with a lower priced brand?
Right. In terms of foundation, it's probably, you're better off in the long run, probably just splurging on foundation. And the reason why is because I do love some of the drugstore brands as well, like Black Opal, amazing.
Yeah.
And Iman is in Target, she's a little higher than Black Opal, but she's not quite as high as your Bobby Brown. The only problem is you can't try them.
There you go.
So what happens is you end up buying color after color after color after color to find your shade, and then you end up spending more than if you just went into the department store, had them match your shade, and you purchased the product.
But how do you, like, say I go to Macy's, and Macy's doesn't carry Black Opal, do they? As far as I know,
well, you wouldn't choose Black Opal. You would choose a brand like, let's see, Clinique has great colors. Bobby Brown has great colors. Becca has great colors.
I've never heard of that line.
Becca?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a wide range of colors. They have a wide color palette.
They carry that at Macy's?
I believe so.
Oh, I gotta go look that up.
Macy's, Sephora, one of them.
Because what you
Ulta.
wind up doing is sticking your face near the little strip of color where they show you the samples and trying to match that, and that don't never work.
No, you really need somebody to help you do it. If you're not able to do it yourself, find a professional who looks like you.
Okay.
And have them help you.
And my mantra is, I will let anybody that says they can do makeup take a shot.
Absolutely.
Because I know
think that's
I can,
fair.
I can fix it if I don't really like it. But for me, going to department stores and getting your makeup done, my golden rule is always, okay, I'll be right back, and go outside into the natural daylight.
That's right.
And see what you look like.
That's right. That's the best light. That will show everything.
Fluorescent lighting is hideous.
Horrible.
And you will come out looking like a clown if you don't check that first.
Horrible.
Now, it also tells me, my card tells me that you're an eyebrow artist.
Yes.
This is a term that I'm not really familiar with. What is an eyebrow artist?
Well, there are quite a few artists now who consider themselves eyebrow artists. And basically, you specialize in eyebrow shaping.
Okay.
It's very simple. So even though I can do makeup, to me, eyebrows frame the face. And when they're done properly, there's nothing better than some nice, clean eyebrows. You don't need eyeshadow.
Yeah, but how do you know when they're done properly? Because we've seen some eyebrow mix-ups.
I think it's just over the years, I've been observant enough that I know what looks good. Just the same way I know a good makeup job, I know a good eyebrow job. And I was telling a friend of mine yesterday that the way that I look at makeup is very mathematical in a way. Because I am an artist, but I'm not one of those artists that can just create wild, crazy, amazing, just art out of the air. You know what I mean? And my art is very structured, and it has a formula.
Okay.
So everything needs to be symmetrical for me. So when I look at your face, I see a grid almost.
Okay.
And what I see when I use makeup, I use it to balance your face if there's anything off balance, and enhance. Like your eyebrows to me, and I think that's why I see eyebrows the way that I see them, because they're just part of that grid. And anything that strays off that grid to me is just not aesthetically pleasing.
Okay.
And I can't really explain it.
You just did. You did.
Okay.
Yeah, that made perfect sense to me.
It's like a formula.
Now, you've seen people who have waxed or plucked their eyebrows and thinking that, I mean, I've heard the term that you can train your eyebrows to grow the way you want them to go. Is that
or
true?
not grow.
Yeah, that
I
too.
mean, the thing is that if you pluck or wax or remove the hair from the root for a number of years, most likely it's going to damage the hair follicle over time, and it won't grow back. So, or it will grow back sparsely. So you want to be careful when you're taking out your when you're grooming your brows.
Right, but if shaping and grooming is important, which is less harsh on you, the waxing or the threading or the plucking? I don't like any of them. Let me just tell you that.
Threading and plucking probably are the least harsh. Waxing can it removes a layer of your skin as well. Yeah, so over time you can develop a little bit of scar tissue. You ever notice sometimes women or even men now have a very shiny area of skin above their eyebrow? It's a form of scar tissue.
I did not know
can,
that.
Yeah, it can, and over time too, the pulling and ripping can create, it can make your eyes crepey.
And when you say crepey, you mean wrinkly like crepe paper.
Right.
So you.
So I would say either tweezing or threading.
That's a lot of tweezing and.
It depends how much brow you have. Me, I've been doing my brows so long, and I am one of those cases that I've been doing my brows so long that they barely grow.
You said they barely grow. Okay. Is that good or bad?
Well, for me, good, because it's less maintenance.
Okay.
But if I had none, it would be bad. I mean, I can still go without filling in my brows.
Okay.
But,
I didn't know. I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on the scar tissue thing.
Yeah.
I did not know that. And maybe that's why waxing, I don't like it. It hurts.
Yes. And you can get burned and,
Oh my.
and you have to be careful who you're going to, and
Why is that important?
because some people use the same stick on everybody that day.
So, oh man.
It's a matter of hygiene. You want to be careful who you're going to.
Okay, I'm never getting my eyebrows waxed again. Okay.
But I've also found that threading, the people who, I know.
That's painful.
I know. But it's quick though. And the people who do the threading, more often than not, give the best shapes.
Okay.
Because usually the people who do threading, culturally, they come from a country that has people that are very hairy. So they know how to groom the hair.
So, let me just go back to the makeup piece. Now you didn't go to beauty school.
I did.
You did go to beauty school.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I went to 2 beauty schools.
Why 2?
Well, the first one was a quick course, 8 weeks. That was way back in 2002.
Okay.
That's before I called myself a makeup artist. I was interested in makeup, but I had no kit. I had nothing to begin with. So I took this small course, which wasn't bad at all, but they give you a starter kit, and that's when I really began practicing.
What's in the starter kit?
Like your basic shadows, some liners, a set of they were really small brushes.
Okay.
Basically anything you could do a full face with,
okay.
but limited in variety.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. Okay, so they give you a starter kit.
Uh-huh.
And then you went to another school after that. Did you get
Yes.
a certificate?
A certificate, not a license, a certificate.
Okay, and then you went to another school.
Mm-hmm. In 2006.
Was that to get a license?
That was a certificate as well. But this school, I went to Mudd.
Okay.
And at the time, I think I was probably their first or second class in New York. They have an LA school, which is off the chain, like incredible. So they had just brought the school to New York, and I decided I wanted to do it. It's very pricey, but at that point, I knew that I wanted to transition into makeup. I wasn't going to take that plunge and do that course unless I had just money to like throw away, because it's several thousands. It's more than several thousands dollars. But I knew at that point that when I did that course, it was 5 months. It was a nighttime course, that I was going to call myself a makeup artist after.
Okay.
After I was done. So that one, that I consider going to makeup school.
Now, for the aspiring makeup artists that are watching,
Yeah.
now, I know you have to build your kit as you go.
Of course.
What are the things that you absolutely positively have to start out with in your kit?
Unfortunately, when you start beginning your kit is probably going to be the most expensive time in your career, because you have to purchase everything.
When you say everything,
meaning you're going to need your foundation. If you have nothing to do other people, you may have your own little makeup kit for yourself. But when you're dealing with clients or doing other people, it's important that you keep that makeup separate from your makeup. Hygiene. I'm really big on hygiene. I alcohol everything, especially my powders and my creams. I don't double dip. I work off of a palette. I clean the brushes in between each person.
When you say you alcohol everything,
yeah, I spray everything with alcohol.
And then that will disinfect a powder?
Mm-hmm. Because the powders, unfortunately, you can't really scrape out like a cream. So when I dip in my powders, to apply to the eyes and all of that, sometimes you don't know if somebody has bacteria on their eyes. So I spray everything down with alcohol to kill any surface bacteria.
Whoa, that's a really good tip.
Yeah, it dries up. I mean, it doesn't damage the powder.
And I heard you mention you should wash your brushes in between jobs.
Yes, every day.
You say you don't use the same brush on. Did you say that?
Yes. I don't use the same brush on two different people without cleaning it first. Okay. So you can get a brush cleaner. You would need a brush cleaner. Okay. And they have some really strong, great, quick drying.
Doesn't that saturate the brush?
But they're quick drying. Okay. So within like 5 minutes, they're dry again.
You need your basic.
You need your basic brushes. Right. That is probably the most expensive. That and the foundations.
And I've seen some makeup artists, the really big ones, they have extensive brush kits.
Yes.
Why is that necessary?
I think it's variety, and it's probably also an obsession. I mean, we love what we do, and I stay out of Sephora because I know that when I go in there, I'll buy something. So I don't even go in there. I know I have everything that I need. But I love brushes too. So if I see a pretty brush, I'm like, oh, I just have to have it. I'll use it.
Then what's a pretty brush? Give me an example of that.
If it's well made, if it's soft, like it doesn't even matter if it's a fan brush that I probably will never use. It's just, I had a brush, oh my gosh. I don't even know if you remember years ago, my kit was stolen with my car. They stole my car, but my kit was in there from the night before because I had an early morning shoot. Came out, everything was gone. But I had a brush in there that I bought at the makeup show that was $215 for that one brush.
I'm sorry?
When I tell you that hurt.
What did that $215 brush do?
Absolutely nothing but graze my face every now and again. Use that brush for anything.
Have you splurged on a brush like that again?
No.
Yeah. Years ago, when I first started working, I worked at an art store called Charette, and I've seen them paint brushes in people's makeup kits. Is that
absolutely
you can do that?
Oh yeah, you can do that if it feels nice. It's synthetic. Because there are lots of synthetic brushes that feel beautiful, eco-friendly brushes that are beautiful. This brush wasn't eco-friendly. It was black squirrel. But I have some eco-friendly brushes in my kit that I bought from like Dwayne Reed that are beautiful.
So when you're starting out, how many brushes do you think you should have?
Well, you're going to need a few blending brushes for the shadow, liner brushes, eyebrow brushes, powder and foundation. And then once you have your basics, then you can kind of expand from there as you go along.
Okay.
You just need your basics, but you will spend the most amount of money on foundations and concealers and brushes.
Now, starting off, do you need to? Well, I guess that's a stupid question, but I'm asking anyway.
That's okay.
You need foundation in a range of colors.
Absolutely.
So you can't just like start off with the black people colors and then work your way to.
What you can do, I would buy 2 of the lightest colors, 2 of the middle tones, and then 2 of the darkest. And then Makeup Forever has some grease paints in just primary colors, like yellow, green, red, peach. Those 4 colors I always keep in my kit. And I adjust the undertones of my foundations with those.
See, that's a lot of
I
stuff
mix.
to learn. You have to learn people's undertones.
But it's important because no foundation is gonna, if say you're doing, right now I do 15 people a day, right? Even if I carried every single color of a line of foundation, somehow, some way, there's gonna be somebody that doesn't match any of those.
Wow.
You have to learn to adjust. If you are an artist and you wanna really know your craft, it's important to learn as much as you can.
And you're always learning.
And I will never be able to not do anybody.
All right.
Ever. Because I know how to mix.
Okay.
I can do from your darkest to your lightest to your reddest to your pinkest to your greenest. It doesn't matter what your color is. I can match you.
So you're always gonna have a job, is what you're saying. You're gonna be always.
Well,
Yeah, you're always gonna have a job.
you know what I mean?
You are,
But-
'cause you're
but
good at what you do.
I think it's important if you love what you do, learn as much as you can.
Come on, say that again. Yes. Say it again.
If you love what you do, learn as much as you can and keep learning. I will never stop learning. And I will watch I watch YouTube all the time. And, you know, I watch artists, even artists who are just beginning, and I learn something from them. You can learn something from anybody.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
So you never know everything.
I would like to thank my guest, Tara Taylor, for sharing her industry knowledge with us today. Before I go, I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts. Remember that you can't change the game until you first learn the game. 2, always surround yourself with positive people and positive things. And 3, do what you love and love what you do. I'm going to throw one more in there. Be a sponge. Thanks for watching Model Behavior, and I will see you next week. Class is officially dismissed. Bye. Now we're going to keep talking, and they're just going to let us know when we clear. That's why it's easy.